Hi, everyone that's there. Just give us 2 minutes and then we're going to start the meeting. Thank you. Okay, so we have a quorum. Today is March 19th, 2023. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the computer screen. It's March 20th, 2024. And this is the meeting, the monthly meeting of the Economic and Development Committee. I'm the chair. My name is Veronica Castro, and we'll introduce the other committee members, starting with Edgar.
Edgar Aguirre, member.
Shalana Paper, member.
Mara Locker, member.
Malcolm Gray, member.
Edward Perez, member.
And we have a guest today, Roger. So he is a board member, but he is not a member of the committee, just for introductions. And okay, so today we have 3 liquor license renewals and 1 cannabis. We don't have meeting minutes to approve, so I apologize for that. We are trying to get that all in order. But the first one we have is 690 Los Primos Restaurant Corporation. That's located at 698 Allerton Avenue. Chris, are you on? I don't think Chris is on. Okay, Chris hasn't alerted me to any issues with any of these locations by the 49 precinct. So as far as I know, there are no issues with them. Primos has been there for a long time. Because Primos is basically considered part of the Allerton International Merchants Association, I'm going to recuse myself from voting. So if anyone wants to make a motion or has any questions on it, just let us know.
Chris is here. If you want to ask about.
Hey, Chris,
Yes.
I just want to confirm, have you had any notification from the 49 precinct regarding any of the locations for tonight's review?
No, everything's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so like we usually do, we're gonna do the motions after the gallery session. So if anyone has any questions, or do you want to move on from this location to the next one? Move on? Okay. So the next one is Shaking Crab, located at 2179 White Plains Road. I'm not very familiar with that one. I think let's see.
They're near Plum Parkway.
They are near Pelham Parkway. Okay. So they're Pelham Parkway. I haven't heard of any issues with them. I have people that have gone there. I myself have not gone there myself, but I hear that their establishment is good. Does anybody have anything to say on the matter? No? Okay. The next one is El Imperial Restaurant Corp. at 2456 Williamsbridge Road. Is anyone familiar with that one?
I go often over there. I buy.
I'm sorry.
I go often over there. I buy food and it's decent. It's a decent
Okay.
restaurant.
Okay, I've gone by it. I haven't seen any issues. I haven't gone inside, but from what I've seen, I've gone at night just to go by it, and it seems to be okay. I don't see anything rowdy or anything happening at night in front of it. Anything from the committee? Okay, the next one is Cafe Colonial Restaurant at 2070 White Plains Road. I haven't frequented to eat in the establishment, but I have gone by at night and I haven't seen any
Yeah.
disturbances or anything in front.
I've driven by at nights and on the weekends. I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
That one was between
There's a one.
Pelham and Bronx Marquis, right?
Yeah, anything else from the committee? Okay, so we'll wait to hear from the gallery in case anyone has any.
I'm sorry,
Sure.
but I have to recuse myself from this one. I just noticed that their filing representative is a member of the Dominican American Chamber of Commerce. And although I don't know the owners specifically of this business, it's likely that they're also members of there, so I'm gonna have to recuse myself.
That's fine. You can, just for clarification, when we recuse ourselves from voting, but you can still discuss it,
Okay,
okay? But you just won't vote on it.
Got
Okay, and like I won't for Primos. Okay, Chris, Smoking Scholar, did they say they were gonna be coming in to,
They're present. The lawyer is present. He's online. Mr. James.
oh, Michael James.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, how are you, Mr. James?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. Let me put this up give me 1 second. I just want to be able to put up the application for the committee that's here.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm assuming we all saw this already, but just in case, they are applying for a retail dispensary. It's located at 784 Allerton Avenue. That's between which blocks, Mr. James, again? Is that, Kruger?
No, it's Wallace and I believe Barnes. Look, let me double check.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe the old supermarket used to be.
Where?
The old supermarket.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this is where the supermarket used to be. Is that just gonna be one of the locations there? Cause I thought they were making multiple
no,
locations.
I think it was a real estate office.
Yeah.
It may have been a real estate or the e-bike.
It's 2 blocks from the
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
two stores.
2 stores from where it is. Okay. Thank you. You'd think I would know all the numbers by heart, but I don't. Okay. Okay, so does the committee have questions for Mr. James regarding this location?
yes. You guys gonna have anything like a lounge or like a smokers club or something in there by any chance? Is it just gonna be purely retail?
It's purely retail. The space is about 700 square feet, so it doesn't really allow for a smokers club or anything like that. And the regulations wouldn't allow for it either.
What kind of security measures are there gonna be in such a small space? Are you gonna have some sort of divider, like a plexiglass type thing, or, you know?
So yes, so there are two main security measures. One, everyone's ID before they come to the store, so that's a deterrent. No one that wants to, unless they have fake ID. But everyone has to present ID to enter. There'll be a security guard that checks their ID before they enter the sales floor, and then there's continuous coverage, video coverage inside and outside of the establishment. So it'll be 24 hours surveillance that's kept up to 2 months as well.
Are you gonna do some sort of crowd control in terms of the amount of people that you have in the store at one given moment?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't expect it to be a rush. That's normally not the case. With these dispensaries, you don't have a rush of people at any one given time, but for sure, there will be a limit if there's an overwhelming uh, uh, gathering of people. There will be a limit to how many people are allowed at one time. That is going to be one of security's primary duties to make sure that there is crowd control and that there's no safety issues. We're not overwhelmed inside the store. While we can't control the people, or there's a safety issue at that point.
What are going to be your hours of operation?
9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
You had touched really briefly on, checking IDs and then mentioned, fake IDs. What measures or what is the protocol in, somebody walks in and hands a fake ID, like what do you do?
So we would utilize a scanner, and the scanner not only checks for their age, but it verifies that it's a valid ID as well.
Yeah, but a lot of fake IDs actually scan now.
Yeah, so we have to rely on the products that are available on the market. There's obviously no other way for us to verify if it's a fake ID other
Right.
than a device that
And if
we
somebody
use to
just
do it.
present to you a fake ID that, you verify is a fake ID, what procedure do you follow as a business? Do you confiscate the ID? Do you report it to the police? What do you do?
So at this point we wouldn't confiscate the ID. I think that would cause an escalation. That may cause an escalation in the interaction, but we definitely deny them entry into the dispensary.
Thank you.
No problem.
Is there any plans to extend the business, like manufacturing or processing or anything like that in the future?
I mean, that'd be great, but we can't, unfortunately, due to the regulations. We can only be retail. We can't move into wholesale or anything like that. Unless we had a micro business, but that's not something we can do at this time.
I do want to veer off from the questioning real quick. I know we have a different committee for the city of Yes, but that specific area where you guys are, it's zoned a C1 to C3 for commercial zoning. I believe. It's
That's a significant area.
right? So, in terms of changing the business model, although you can't do it now, I mean, maybe in the future, because that zoning change, it's going to have like urban agriculture and micro distribution facilities. So, depending on how long that lease is, and if the City of Yes housing initiative passes as it's written, your business may be able to change in terms of operation. So do you guys have a plan in place for addressing potential changes in zoning that will allow you to run your business differently?
So, I mean, and thank you for that. That would be a great opportunity. But it's not only the zoning that's prohibitive, it's also the OCM guidelines that don't allow us to take advantage of a full vertical integration. However, if that were to be the case, yes, that would be one. We'd have to just see what the regulations are, and then to see how we could take advantage of it. And that's my job on the team to make sure that we are on top of those changing regulations, and that we can take advantage of those opportunities as they present themselves. So, the best I can say is yes, we will explore it. If it's the opportunity presents itself, we'll definitely explore it.
All right, Mr. James, look it up. It's called the City of Yes. There's 3 portions to it. One's for carbon neutrality, one's for economic development, which I'm pretty sure you would be interested in. And the next one, which is probably the most important to our community, is the housing part for housing opportunities. So segueing into housing and the neighborhood and being a good neighbor, how does this establishment plan on dealing with kids walking by, children coming out of school, trying to, take a peek inside and things like that? What is your advertisement like? I guess in a nutshell, how do you guys plan on being a good neighbor?
Great question. So the glasses will be frosted, so you actually can't see inside, and that's a regulation as well. So you won't be able to see inside anything that's going on. There won't be any display of any cannabis on the outside, nothing attractive to minors, no bubble letters, no colorful, graphics or marketing outside of the establishment. And the sign will be generic as well. So obviously, younger adults can read, but it won't be attractive in a way that's like cartoonish, like you see with those smoke shops, or like bright and loud, and it won't be that. It will be more of a discreet location, and more of a modern touch to the establishment, so it can enhance the vibe, the design as well. So. Uh, we will be under regulation, but be active in making sure that we're not displaying or marketing to minors. Most of the marketing is done in ways that we do an age gate first. Even on the website, it will be an age gate, making sure that people are 21 and over before they can even enter the website. So we will go through extensive measures to block it from the community, well, the minority, the minor community, not the minorities, but the minor communities, and making sure that we're a good neighbor in that front, and also obviously listening. If there are areas of concerns, then we'll address those areas and pay attention to them.
Why that area?
I was just gonna ask.
Because I mean, there is definitely concern that the cannabis industry will become equal to what the liquor industry now, especially in Black and brown dominated communities where you will have 2 liquor stores, in one area, right? What is the allure for that area? Like, why did you choose that specific spot? You also mentioned that you're working within a group, correct?
Well, I'm an attorney. I'm the attorney for the ownership group. Yes.
And also, like, do you guys are they also establishing other stores too?
No, this is the only store that they're establishing.
Okay, but why that? Do you know why that area?
Well, yeah. So the Bronx is where the license was issued. So this program, I'm not sure how much you know about the program, but the owner, one of the owners is justice involved, meaning, everyone in this like the first licensing round, they come from the same communities that they're coming back to. And one of the reasons is providing job opportunities, reinvestment into the neighborhoods that they've grown up in, and have seen the over enforcement of these past cannabis laws. So it's more symbolic than anything, coming back to the place where there was a disproportionate impact of these laws, these unfair regulations, and now coming back to take advantage of the laws that are putting us at the front, to put it that way. So there's a lot of symbolism and a lot of good intention in coming back to this neighborhood and establishing it there. I do think also that is a neighborhood that has a viable market. And so we have to take that into account, because after all, it is a business. But we want to, be of service to the market that's there, but then also be in the neighborhood that will appreciate the symbolism of the entire program, which is giving the people from these neighborhoods the opportunity to come back and revitalize and be, right in line with programs like the City of Yes, provide those opportunities and support it.
But what is I guess, the significant impact of that business being in that area, right? Like, how many jobs are you looking to create? What services are you going to provide back to the community? Because I get it. Like, I mean, the business is you're selling cannabis, right? But there are people who support it and there are people who don't. But like, overall, like, what significant impacts are you bringing in that benefits that community as a whole?
Well, I would suggest that the significant impact are the jobs. That's just one respect. Now, this is not a grand operation where we're providing 50 jobs. This is a small operation where 8 jobs will be provided. I see it that way. I mean, once delivery, you can do delivery as well and expand from there. But the bigger benefit and impact is the opportunity. So instead of a big corporation owning these establishments, we have people from the same communities that they're from owning them. So I'm not sure if I'm understating the impact of the community having the first opportunity. And that's really the impact. Whether it's small, or it's to the scale of a Target. But instead of a Target having that opportunity first, the people from the neighborhood have that opportunity first. And there's a ripple effect to it, because the jobs that are provided, there's a focus on providing it to people who are from the community as well. And then those opportunities, the ripple effect is you're providing the education of a new industry. They have the opportunity to come in and see people who look like them own it, and then they also are able to one, have the confidence to move through that industry and gain that knowledge. So it's far beyond just having the store, especially for the first one on at least on that block, but the first few in that neighborhood. It establishes the industry as we see it, and it makes up the industry. So one store it may not seem impactful, but when you take a look at the entire industry and what it looks like, we have, and I'm sorry to, I'm long-winded, but New York has more minority-owned stores than the entire country at this point. That's, it's just not, we own 4% of the entire country, but in New York, it's over 70%. So it's a great impact. It's just, honestly, there's no other program in the country like this. So that's the impact, that's the story, that's the opportunity that we're looking to be a part of.
I have a question. I just need some clarification. Mr. James, this is Juan Luciano, I'm one of the members. You mentioned that, I think you mentioned somewhere along the line that, there was a group and that your role in the group was to keep on top of the regulations, et cetera. Are you representing that group in your capacity as an attorney, or are you in fact part of that ownership?
No, I'm just the attorney for that group.
Or you're just representing?
Yeah, and one of the owners there as well, but I'm just the attorney for the group.
Understood.
How many?
I'm sorry, just one more
are
question, Brian.
Okay, go ahead.
And you mentioned that where in the licensing process are you? Does the group already have a license?
So they have a conditional license, a provisional license, as they call it. They've
Okay.
been awarded, yes, they've been awarded a license, and now they have a location and can seek final approval.
I'm sorry, I got a follow-up question now. What does that mean, a conditional license?
So the initial round is, the way that it went is you applied without a location. There was no significant investment. You just applied. And if you were awarded a license, then you were supposed to be matched with the location. That's the initial way it was supposed to go. But that program has broken down. I'm not sure if you know how much you know about it. And so now these people who were supposed to be matched with these locations, they can now, or in a circumstance where they have to go out and look for their own locations. And so that's where we are in that process.
I understand. So this address of 784 Allerton Avenue is a place that you guys are looking to rent, or I'm sorry, that your clients are looking to rent from, or is that a place that they have already secured a lease?
They already secured a lease on it.
All right, so you guys are far along. You have the license and the location. Okay, great. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
That's okay. I was just curious, how many owners are there under Smoking Scholar?
Three. There are three owners.
Have any of the owners have or currently have any other cannabis businesses, whether dispensaries or otherwise?
No,
Okay, they've never had any in the past.
no.
Business experience too.
Mr. James, how long have you known Mr. Brooks?
I've known him since 2021. But they do have, I heard something about experience. I'm sorry. I heard a whisper about experience. One, this is new for everyone. So anyone that you see with a license in New York has no experience with no experience selling cannabis legally.
Oh, no, but Joanne's question was business-wise, in any kind of business.
In any capacity.
Right. So that I'm glad you asked. I forgot to mention that too. They do have, so one of the requirements to get the license is that you had business experience as well. That's the requirement. But also, so that's one owner who's a majority owner, and then also Conrad, who's on the call tonight. He has three different businesses, one a hardware store, grocery store, and a taxi business. So he has significant retail experience and customer service and you know administrative experience with the business, with businesses in general.
You talked a little bit about having a total of, you know, an estimated 8 employees. Could you walk us through what their training process is, what that looks like, what their, you know, their training maybe for, you know, conflict resolution, maybe with, you know, somebody who's not supposed to be in the business, like a minor, what does that training process look like in general and in those more particular situations?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first, compliance is such a big piece of the business and keeping the license. They will be required to go through compliance training, and that this is from day one. You have to onboard them and have them understand before you even sell anything. How do you get to that point? So compliance is a big piece of it. That will be done through the handbook. Initially they'll have a handbook, but then do it through orientation. Aside from that, we'd go through training them on products. And what is done now is many of the farms, the suppliers, they'll come in and train them on their products, what they offer, how it's grown, whether the percentages, whether the benefits, terpene profiles, et cetera, et cetera. And that's mostly front of house. That's more of like customer service aspects to it. But then we go deeper, obviously training on customer service, just as any retail establishment would want to train their employees. And then there's internal training as far as conflict resolution, as you mentioned. Internally, I think if we look at it in a holistic way, you'd want to train them to be better people and better, which make them better employees, better people for the community. So we will most likely have a series of trainings and not just on cannabis knowledge, but it will run compliance, safety measures, safety fire drills, essentially, and also conflict resolution. I hope
Any other questions?
I just want to confirm a few things. So having now had a conditional license, that means that OCM has, looked into your client's background checks. They have looked into their business acumen. They have looked at their sources of funds to fund their business. Is that all correct?
correct.
All right. And so they have gone through all of those processes and they have been deemed, clear and worthy of getting this license, right?
Correct.
All right.
What are the conditions? 'Cause if it's a conditional license, then they must have tied conditions to it. So what do the conditions look like?
So
Legitimate. That's the
James, answer that question.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Like what are the conditions? If it's a conditional license, like what is making it conditional?
So one of the conditions is that the justice involved owner remains the majority owner and in sole control, active control of the company for 4 years. And this was done because in many states where they had tried to implement social equity programs, people would have someone who is a social equity involved or eligible person on the license, but then someone else would be actually owning the license or running the business. So that is the condition part of it. And we're, it's worked for New York, as I was mentioning earlier, alluded to. It's worked for New York, and we fully intend to comply with that.
Is that the only condition?
Yeah, that's the major yes, the major condition, yes.
What are the minor conditions?
I'm sorry?
What are the minor conditions?
Well, the minor conditions apply to everyone. You have to stay in compliance with the license as far as, don't sell to minors, follow the regulations, do trainings. Essentially every license is conditioned on whether or not you comply. But that is the condition of why it's called a conditional adult use license.
Anything else from the committee?
Yes, just one more thing. The name Smoking Scholars. I understand that a few people have had various businesses, and you know, when you're thinking of a business name, it's one of the most important decisions in a business. So I kind of question a little bit of the decision making based on the name. I don't know if Mr. Hay would like to enlighten us a little bit on the name choice or how they came up on this name or how this even blew.
I'm sorry, so maybe, do you wanna get enlightenment on the name? Got it. Yeah, I think most, I mean, if you take a look at most of the smoke shops around New York, you'll see that their names are not necessarily in line with anything that's, I guess, enlightened. You see things like Zaza City or Weed World. Those are typically the names that you see. You actually don't see anything tied to scholarship or education at all. You know, they're actually in the minority. So the name caters to people who are of the cannabis community, but not necessarily ones who identify as or being attached to just weed. Essentially, it's a more elevated palette, and if you understand, you know, you could, you know, bear with me, understanding that there are different. I'm not sure if anyone indulges on the board, but on the committee, but there are various strains to weed and various different aspects to it. So smoking scholars speaks to more so people who actually study the plant, not just smoke weed. And I'm sorry just to be that blunt. You can go to Weed World for that, but when you come to a store that says smoking scholars, people who actually study the plant and understand its benefits would resonate with that name. And so that's why the name was chosen, because it's a layered meaning in that community.
So, sorry, go.
All right. I mean, I don't indulge, right? But
Mhm.
it's I can say from my perspective standpoint, it's not really a name that I would love to come outside and see on a store. You know what I'm saying? To me, it comes off a little bit tacky. Like, you know, there are definitely I'm saying this, like in this specific community, like there are a lot of people who really don't like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, your name and how you introduce yourself to the community is gives off the perception of what you want to be recognized as, right? So I can tell you from like people coming outside when they're seeing Smoking Scholar, it's going to give off the feel of a illegal smoke shop, which we have a huge issue here. And which we have, you know, already have legal smoke shops calling themselves a Rick and Morty smoke shop or a Smoky Cloud. Like it doesn't give off, you know, legal to, you know, in my eyes personally. You know what I mean? I mean, are they tied to this name? Like, is this the name that they want to go forward with, or are there other names that they would like to push
Well,
forward?
well, this was the name. I mean, this is a name that they applied with over 2 years ago. So I'm not saying they're tied to it, but it is something that we have the license under this name as well. The company's registered to it. But I would like to know, you know, what suggestions you may have. If you have a suggestion on an alternative name, I think that we could at least have a discussion about it, see if if it makes sense. But there's a lot of paperwork that's already tied to the name as well. So I'm just hoping you could appreciate that.
I like the explanation Mr. James gave as to why they chose the name. Because I could appreciate somebody that studies the art of anything, whether it's engineering, whether it's farming, whether it's marijuana strains. So I could appreciate that, and I kind of see why they went with that name.
Yeah, I got off the back that they were going for this name because they were appealing to like an educated person that smokes weed.
I didn't get it until you explained it, though.
I mean, I get it, but it's just not something that, you know, what.
Anything else from the committee? Okay, Bernadette, I see you have your hand up as chair of the board. Please address anyone you want.
Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mr. James, thank you so much for coming here today, but I do want to ask a question. if the actual owners were asked to come to the committee, if there are any further questions, would there be any opposition to them coming to the committee at the request of the committee for further questions, if there happens to be any?
No, we have no issue coming. We actually found out about the meeting today at about 2 o'clock, and we showed up. We showed up because we wanted to show up and be here. Conrad is here as well. We're open. We're open to communicating and speaking with you further, and they'll come too.
Okay. You're saying Conrad, is that somebody who's online right now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the video on. Okay. The other thing is, as far as do you also have a recreational license with this?
So this is a recreational license.
This is a
Right. Yeah, we don't have a medicinal license.
Okay, is there a reason for that? That the both licenses aren't requested? Whether it be medicinal and recreational?
So we could only get recreational now. The
Okay.
medicinal licenses they were closed a number of years ago. So there's no way to get one. We can only be recreational.
Okay, and the other thing is, the specific location, are you aware that the Allerton Library is right up the block from that location? And usually the libraries in most of our communities really do have quite a bit of after-school programs. So, that's, you're going to get a lot of curiosity from the after-school program, since they will probably be walking by the location, etc. I was wondering if you had looked into that before you had checked out the address.
We did not look into that, and that's a good point. We'll take note of it. As I was saying before, and I think when I saw there's a liquor store on the corner of the block over from us.
Yeah.
But when we did take we took a look at the location, we understood that we'd have to make sure that we would not be visible to minors, and as I alluded to earlier, that's a paramount concern, not only to community, but also just making sure that we're good neighbors and keeping it in compliance. So we'll definitely take that under advisement and make sure that we are not attracting minors and making sure that it's kosher as much as possible.
Yeah, did you actually take note? I know there are two churches. I know they're a block away, but though they're not, you're in compliance with that. But yeah, you should take a walk around the neighborhood and see where the schools are, see what the routes that are taken as school gets out. And also because there is also a Jewish synagogue. So you do have Sabbath on Saturday and of course a Sunday observation. So to be very aware of that. So, and that's something that I know that many of us take into consideration. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Well, noted.
Thank you, Bridget. Edgar, you had your hand up?
Yeah, this is a question for the committee. Someone remind me if I'm misremembering this, but if there's a legal cannabis shop established, then doesn't that mean the sheriff's department has to shut down all the illegal ones within like 1,000-foot radius or something?
Doesn't mean that they have to, but history has shown that if a legal dispensary is established in a certain area, then the sheriffs will go around and heavily enforce the law for the other illegal smoke shops. So it's kind of a bonus if we get a legal dispensary, and I live on Allerton and there are multiple illegal smoke shops, so that's something that would be addressed also. And just so you know, the sheriff has gone around to those locations already on Allerton, but it'll be even more heavily enforced.
So this comment is for my fellow committee and also for Mr. James. I actually think that all these applicants that come before us that, with this cannabis license should be represented by counsel. I think this is, Mr. James has provided a lot of answers that we otherwise wouldn't have gotten if we just have a lay person that is not familiar with the regulations come in here and present. The other thing is that sometimes when we ask questions of these individuals and we ask some innocent questions, they reply with things that could be incriminating, which is obviously not our objective, but now this is getting recorded. And if they have the benefit of counsel, counsel could either reply or advise them before they say things that are incriminating. So I encourage, I think, applicants that come before us to seek, the representation of counsel. And I'm glad that Mr. Hay and his co-owners had the good sense of hiring Mr. James.
And to piggyback off of that, Mr. James, thank you for making the meeting, for coming, online, and Mr. Hay as well. I understand that it was very last minute. And the other thing is that we're strictly advisory. So, nothing that we have here is probably going to have any bearing on OCM's decision, but we're hoping that you listening to us and having a conversation with us will have some bearing on the way that the establishment is run.
Yeah, absolutely. And from doing a couple of these meetings, a lot of them around the city, I really do appreciate the conversation that we're having about this. I can tell, and I know this is a little bit off the application itself, but I can tell it, one, that you care about your community, and that you care about knowing what is really going to happen in this business, which I can always appreciate. And the conversation was very, very well pointed. So I do appreciate being here tonight with you guys a lot.
I have one last question, actually. And as I'm thinking about it, it escapes me. Oh yeah, no, we talked about this already. We had kind of touched on, illegal businesses that are around us. What are the different ways maybe that, the business owners intend on maybe connecting with, the community board, with the precinct council, and engage with us, to make sure that these illegal businesses, are eliminated, they pose, a viable threat to their business.
Absolutely.
So what, how do they intend on going about, communicating, those concerns and what they're seeing?
Communicating the concerns to community board?
To community board, to the precinct, to whoever they might need to contact about maybe if they're observing, an illegal business operating here.
So two things. After we meet with you, I'll say two or three things. One, we will meet with the precinct. We will meet with, it's just standard practice. Before we open, we like to introduce our security personnel to the precinct, to the NCO, the CO if he's available as well, or her available, and make sure that there is a relationship there. Security guards are usually, that we hire usually, or we will hire, will be ex police officers, so they'll have some familiarity with how that operates. The other thing that we can stay in constant communication with the committee and the board. I will ask for a little time in them doing that, because it does take a lot to get up to speed and understand the business of it, on the moving parts. But for sure, we will be in contact. For sure, be in contact with the police department, be in contact with the OCM, making sure that they're aware that there are smoke shops. I know that there was one across the street. I think they did go to that smoke shop already, which is good. And then we will be in contact with the board if there are any. You can actually just reach out to me, and I'll do the same if there are any issues there.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bernadette have her hand. Okay, Bernadette. You're muted.
Thank you. There's a question in the chat that I thought was worth asking. And it's, will your customers be told not to smoke in front of the store? So is that something that you
I
will?
saw that. Yeah. Yes, that's absolutely correct. There can be no smoking in or outside of the store, anywhere around it.
Great. And the only reason I just wanted to point it out for the record, for clarity, that over the years when we have liquor licenses, which come in front of the economic development, that usually the owners come with their lawyers. They come as a team. So that's why I was asking about that, because most of the time, the owners of the store or the business always come with their lawyers or attorneys, etc. That's why I was asking, why the owners were not here with you. So just wanted to point that out for clarity. Thank you so much.
No problem. You're welcome.
So if we have nothing else from the committee, we can open it up to the gallery, because I think that was the last application we needed to review, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, Roger, you're in person, do you have anything? Okay. I'm going to ask that we stick to the 2-minute rule. Is there some, thank you, Michael, appreciate that. I'm gonna call on the people who have their hand up, and then I'll call on others in case you don't have the availability to raise your hand because of your device. So Efren, you're first.
Is it possible to see the chat?
I'll let you know.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hi, Efren.
Hi, Efren, we can hear you.
How are you? How is everybody doing? Just had a question. With the recent trending of violence with smoke shops, and I know we don't have data on cannabis shops. It was something scary that happened just recently from Mount Vernon, and then it affected us here. And yes, it's a little unrelated, but the thing is, I'm very concerned, especially around a public library, where a location would be a store, a cannabis shop, would be allowed. I think that is a big red flag. I am very concerned. I'm also concerned of the optics, where children will be walking past the cannabis shop to go to the library. And of course, there are other activities in the course of their day. So I am very skeptical about this. I'm also skeptical that the owners did not come to present themselves to the community. You know, I understand people want to do business, but I also believe in tact. So I would just advise the committee, and I would advise the community, but listen, I grew up, I listened to Pete Seeger. I understand the people from Woodstock. I understand the people around the country that want to smoke, but I'm also concerned about the environmental impact, because these owners are not going to be providing public safety, and they're only responsible for what goes on in their location, not around the location. So they may not be able to prevent people from smoking outside. So just take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the record, Mr. Hay is one of the owners and is here tonight, so none of the owners, statement that none of the owners showed up is inaccurate. Also, and this is just my own opinion, I think Mr. James did a great job in answering all our questions. I don't think there was anything that he was not able to answer that the committee asked of him.
I would also like to add that, like, being represented by council is not, the appearance of something, like an impropriety, it's, well within their rights to be represented by council.
Absolutely.
And that's not really something that, to be used, to support or to negatively impact a business. Just like if you were, being questioned, by law enforcement, it's well within your rights to have your, to be represented by an attorney, and that's not an admission of wrongdoing either. So that's not really something that the board can use, in consideration of a decision.
Agree. And also there is a separation between illegal and legal cannabis stores. The ones that are getting hit with with robberies are illegal because they do not have the proper safety protocols in place. So, we have to make that distinction also.
Yeah.
So when evaluating the applicants that come before us, there's a difference between the applicants that have already gone through the licensing process and have an approved license, whether that be conditional or not, and an applicant, we've seen those two that are
In the process.
in the process. We have no idea what OCM's position is because we don't have an approved license. These guys have an approved license.
Right.
That means they went through all the background checks, including criminal background checks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Unless we have some evidence that somehow OCM missed something,
Right.
there's really not that much scrutiny that we can put on these people that they haven't already been, through.
Right.
Agree.
Again, just so you know, just because somebody has a license already doesn't mean that we're automatically, as a community board, going to say yes. But it does give us a little bit of information already that maybe OCM has already done everything they need, but we always do what is best, what we feel is best for our community.
Agree.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah, no, I agree, but it says a lot.
Yeah. Okay,
Rich is next.
so Rich, you have your hand up?
Hey, everyone, and I'll be quick. Michael James, that was a great presentation. I think adding a legal cannabis shop to the Allerton area, I'm not too far, I'm a couple blocks away, would extinguish and be a mitigant to illegal shops. There are a bunch, and I welcome a legal one. And in terms of liquor, we have liquor store owners who don't show up to allow their own liquor store renewals. So I applaud that you guys showed up and, as everyone mentioned, have legal counsel. That's all.
Thank you.
I just
Thank you,
also
Rich.
wanted to respond. I saw one of the questions in the chat was what plans in the future is the state going to take to protect legal businesses? They already have a few measures in place. One of them being that when a business is a legal licensed business, the sheriff's department routinely, surveillances the area and, will occasionally pop in at random. That in and of itself also will alert them to illegal businesses that are also there. And then they will take the proper measures to do what they need to do to also disband those businesses as well.
And they have also started padding the stores. So they have noticed that certain stores will be closed, but then right after they leave, the owner goes back. So sometimes OCM will come, the sheriff's office will come back and they'll replace the lock with a state lock to keep the store padded. So that's something that you should also keep in mind too.
Great.
Okay. Rich, was that all you had?
Yes, I'll put my head down. Sorry.
Okay. I'm gonna go do the names that I see up on there, just in case anyone's not able to raise their hands. Christine, do you have anything?
I'm sorry, I was muted, and I jumped on a little late, but I did see some messages, and I think I heard someone say these legal cannabis stores are already regulated by OCM. There is already oversight, and I appreciate Mr. James, I think is his name. I'm sorry, I just jumped on. Mr. James coming in today. I don't appreciate, the casting of, doubt on, people who are willing to come and sit in front of the board when they don't have to. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hay, you're welcome to address the committee if you like. You don't have to, but if you like to, you can.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Conrad Hay. I'm one of the owners for Smoking Scholar, and I would like to thank everyone for being here and thank you myself. I am driving, short notice, so I just picked my kids up from school, so I'm on my way home. So I've heard all the conversations. I heard everything in detail, and I just want to give you guys a little background of myself. I've been in business for over 25 years. I used to own Option Hardware on 2501 Holland Avenue for 14 years. Okay, so I am familiar with the neighborhood. I'm familiar with the committee and other sorts. So I do know a lot that goes on in the neighborhood. So I am part of the neighborhood. Okay, and I also used to own the grocery store right next to 2501 Holland Avenue, which is Las Dos Reyes grocery store. So with that being said, I hope you guys looking into consideration of welcoming this new business, which is licensed cannabis, that we're gonna go into and try to see that we can get the best benefit for the community as well as for ourselves as well, and to make this organization grow to the best abilities. So I thank you for welcoming us, and hopefully you guys look at us and consider us being part of the community as we already are. And any other questions, I would appreciate that. So I thank you guys for looking at us and hopefully bringing us into the community and helping us grow.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Hay.
Appreciate that. Herbert Noret, do you have anything for the committee?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Kay Cardona, do you have anything?
No, I said my piece, thank you.
Thank you. Diane, I know you just entered the meeting. Is there anything that you'd like to address to the committee?
No, but thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and the only other person I haven't called on is Chris. Do you have anything for the committee?
Just a quick clarification. Actually, I saw that it was mentioned in the chat. Somebody mentioned the fact that Mr. Gonzalez, if I'm not wrong, he said that, some of the people don't come even when he's renewing a liquor license. As per our rules and regulation, let's say it so, we have decided that renewals, if they don't have any issue with 49 precinct, in this case with the police department, they don't have to come. So I just wanted to clarify that renewals, they don't have to come.
Thank you for that, Chris.
Yep.
Okay. So I think that's the end of the gallery session, so we can move on to motions. Okay. Can I get one of the agendas? I gave mine away. Thank you. Okay.
You're making a motion on all of them or just one at a time?
It's up to the
It's all
committee.
renewal anyway.
Well, let's do this. I have to recuse myself from
That's right.
Primos, and I believe Ed is recusing himself from voting.
Oh,
We're
that's
just
right.
recusing ourselves from voting for Cafe Colonial.
Right.
So, I think we should just do it one by one. It'd probably be quick. So,
I'll make motion.
okay, so, do we have a motion on the floor for Los Primos from 698 Allerton Avenue?
I move to make the motion of approval for 690 Los Primos.
Okay.
698 Alton Avenue.
Okay, so,
Second.
Mary seconded it already.
Okay.
Malcolm and Mary second. For the record, I recuse myself from voting. So Malcolm, can you continue with the motion?
Make the other ones?
No, just
for this
ask,
one.
We have to vote this
discussion or
one.
anything.
Oh, sorry. Okay, cool. Just any discussion? Any opposed? Abstain?
Motion passes.
I make the motion. Cool. I make the motion to approve the Shaky Crab located on 2179 White Plains Road.
I second it.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Motion passes
Passes.
unanimously.
I make a motion to approve the liquor license for El Imperial Restaurant Corp. located on 2450. All right, cool.
Welcome.
Any discussion? Abstentions? Nays? So passes.
Unanimous.
Make the motion to approve the liquor license for Cafe Colonial Restaurant located on 2070 White Plains Road.
Second.
Any discussion? You recusing yourself, no?
Yeah, I am recusing myself.
Okay, cool. Any discussion? Any no's? Abstentions? Pass.
Motion passes, one recusal. Okay, so that's all the renewal liquor licenses that we have. We'll move on to the cannabis location. Do we have a motion for Smoking Scholar located at 784 Allerton Avenue?
I move for the committee to issue a letter of no objection.
I second it.
Okay, come on.
Discussion.
My only issue is the name, but it's whatever.
Yeah, he just has an issue with the name. So, that's a discussion. Any other discussion? Okay, do we have any objections? Do we have any abstentions?
I'm gonna abstain.
We have one abstention.
I will also.
You're gonna abstain also? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, motion passes. Okay, motion passes with 2 abstentions. Okay, so Mr. James and Mr. Hay, the way it works is the committee will bring this to the full board meeting, which is next Thursday, correct?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, and we will bring this up to the full board. The full board at that time will make a vote on it. And then whatever comes out of that meeting, that will be our referral to the OCM regarding your establishment. Okay, so our referral to the full board right now is to send a letter of no objection. If that passes at the full board, that's the referral we will send to the OCM.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone.
1 second, Mr. James.
You can also, if you or any of the owners would like to speak before the full board, before they make their motion, there is a gallery session. You would have to show up a few minutes before the actual meeting starts so you can sign a gallery slip. Or you can send a notification to our community board office, the district manager, and the community coordinators, and they can add you to the list of registered speakers for the gallery session. Okay, you don't have to, but if that's something that you feel you'd like to do to speak to the rest of the board, you can do that.
Give them the address too.
You can sign online, Mr. James. If you get in our website, you can sign online.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll reach out to you guys.
And Chris, where's the full board? Is it gonna be
It's a full board.
in Einstein?
They're shaking their head, yes.
It's supposed to be there so far unless something changes at the last moment. But so far, yes, we're gonna be meeting at Einstein.
Okay, and you could always go to the Bronx Community Board 11 website and look at the agenda for the full board meeting for March, and it'll give you the information. Plus, if you wanted to join like you did today through WebEx, it'll give you a link to the full board meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, do we have any old business? Okay, I have old business really quickly. I have to give to you and to you, but I printed out the liquor license and I made some notes on it, sections I think are not necessary for the cannabis applications. I want to get this cannabis questionnaire moving so we could give it out to the applicants before they come, so we have information in front of us that may cut down on some of the questions we have. So I have on here, cross out what I think is not needed. I have check marks what I think is. I have question marks with things I'm not sure. So I want the committee to review them and get back to me. I also took one of, because we can't print out a blank OCM application. I printed out one that was given to us by one of our applicants, and I removed any identifying information for them on it. And I did the same thing. I Xed out what I thought was not necessary. I checked off what was. I'd like the committee to please, it's a little late now. I don't want to keep the committee here too long, but I'll ask that you guys review it over the week or so. And email me your suggestions, what you think is good, what you think is not good, and then I'll put something together so that way we have something for the next meeting that as a committee, we can say, yes, let's move forward with this, and we'll have to give out to the applicants. Because I know we've been talking about it, but we haven't really had any momentum on it, so I'd really like to get it going.
We had actually had a draft at some point. Was that ever sent to you?
I
I
don't,
think the last meeting, we
Just-
I already did that.
Yeah, we had.
you did.
We
I'll
had.
just hand it to you again.
Yeah.
Okay, you can because I probably didn't see it, but so that's
We
fine.
never talked about it, yeah, but we had like a complete draft of everything actually with like reviewing OCM and.
Yeah, the regulations.
Oh,
We
okay,
did all
that's
this
fine.
already.
That's fine. So then we'll look at that and we'll see if everybody agrees to it.
Yeah, it sounds like.
You should have brought it into the meeting so that way we could
No,
have.
I did it like months ago.
I know, but you could have brought it in and then this probably would have been done right. So I apologize if,
No, what happened was
If
the
I'm-
last meeting was what you were Ed. We talked about it for, you know.
we've been talking about, yeah, but one did the work and putting it together,
He brought it
so.
up just fine.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could send it out to the.
Yeah,
Send it out to
I
everyone.
think what he's saying, it was already sent
It
out,
was-
but we might have missed it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
kind of came about like after one meeting, like we had like a little bit of a side conversation. We're like, we should have a form for this. That'd be nice. And then we kind of just started like out of nowhere on a Google Doc, and somehow that translated
yeah,
into like a full
we all
draft.
kind of
So-
had like, we
Okay,
had-
kind of fine.
Yeah, it became a working document.
Sorry, I missed it.
No, no,
I
it's all right.
apologize
That
for
was
that,
us.
so. So you could ignore this, or
No,
you
you're-
need to look over the document and
definitely.
see if there's anything in here that you might wanna.
Yeah, if you
Incorporate.
wanna give me.
Yeah, I'll give you a copy. Okay, so that's old business. New business. I had asked, we had gotten a letter from Local 210 to come in, and they wanted to discuss, and it has to do with cannabis. They wanted to discuss some of the labor and stuff like that. But one thing, they weren't able to make it this meeting, so I'm hoping they're gonna be able to make it for April. But one thing that they mentioned to me, which I found very interesting, and I don't know if you guys have this one, I'll give you the other documents afterwards. But they mentioned to me that only retail dispensaries are required to come before municipalities. And it turns out that manufacturing, the processors, we could have them in our community and they're not required to come before us. So we don't know where they are. We don't know where they're near or anything like that. So that's something I wanted to bring attention to. I don't know if this is something, it just happens to be like a little loophole because in the MRTA, the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, it says here on number 76, notification to municipalities of adult use retail dispensary or on-site consumption license. When I spoke to the OCM, I'm like, well, where does it say that manufacturers or the processing places don't have to come before the board? And they just kept repeating, it only says that retail dispensaries or online consumption license applicants have to come before the board.
I mean, there's a variety of reasons for that. One of them being that, this provision is statewide, so there's nothing to say that, a business located in the Bronx doesn't have, a supplier that's located in Oswego, New York, and it's not reasonable to assume that they're gonna make the 8-hour drive to come meet with us for 20 minutes.
No, I don't care about people in Oswego. If somebody is a manufacturer or a processor located in CV11, they do not need to come before the municipality.
Is that allowed in the current zoning regulations?
I don't know if that, I just found out about
I
it,
didn't
so I
see
need
any,
to do
I don't
more
recall
about it.
seeing anything in the regulations about, like,
Manufacturing.
yeah, I mean,
I think that's
manufacturer
allowed
or service
zoning
providers.
wise, yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that he brought to my attention, that they can move in and they don't have to bring it to the Bronx Committee Board 11.
But what I did see in the regulations is like, I think it's mandatory for the people that work in these services to be unionized. So I didn't understand why they wanted.
I don't think they have to buy, you can't legally require somebody to be unionized.
I think so. I think I saw something in the regulations about there being union labor or something. I can check again.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think maybe the reason why Local 210 is coming is because they're trying to get it more unionized. I'm not
National
100%
Relations
sure.
Board, you can't force someone to unionize.
Look at it again, but I specifically saw that and I remember that having the question in my mind, why is it that the union is pressing for something that they already have? So I'll look at the regulations again. I could be wrong.
I think it might be more likely than not, and this is just coming from, my
I
past
know.
is in human resource management. I don't think that they could mandate somebody to unionize. They might just be trying to expand their memberships in other capacities.
No, I saw it in the regs, so, but I could be wrong, so
Could it be that-
I'll look at it again.
I
Maybe
couldn't
that's a
print
state,
out
that's a state thing.
the. It could be.
Because I know federal law, there's federal laws that that's the fight right now, right? It's either you allow unionization or you don't allow it. But there's no federal law saying you can or cannot. So it made it came down to the state and the state decided to do it that way.
I have to look again. I mean, I'm not gonna say 100%. I looked at these things long ago. I'll
Right.
look at it again and we'll all look at it again and
Yeah.
see.
I couldn't print out the whole MRTA because it's 128 pages. Just doing what I copied today and the copy machine took forever, so 128 pages, we still wouldn't have the meeting going yet. But, so I just wanted to bring this to the committee's attention and to the public's attention, and maybe this is something we want to do a deeper dive into to find out about. And when the Local 210, his name is Mr. Parker, when he's able to attend the meeting, he could give us some background on the union too. Okay, yeah, he has more information regarding this too, but it's something I wanted to bring to the attention of the committee. Like I said, it's something that we could look into a little bit more. Why, it just looks like to me, and this is just my own opinion, it looks like a loophole. And I don't know if that's something we should be concerned about, if they have processing or manufacturers in CV11 that we don't know about. Just because for safety reasons, we don't know what can happen. We don't know if people are gonna retaliate against them for you know, whatever reason, could you have the, not necessarily retaliate, but you know, you have the illegal companies that might target them and stuff
When I
like
was
that.
reading the regs, the big feeling I have is that one of the concerns that the state has is money laundering. So there was a lot of emphasis on the regs about looking at the source of the funding, making sure that all the individuals that have ownership interests are listed in the application. And the feeling I had was that the concern was money laundering.
I think it's also just, you know, these businesses have to be entirely, you know, cash because you can't use a debit card or a credit card. You can't take out a bank loan to subsidize that
Right.
kind of business. So
Yeah.
it might not even necessarily be, you know, like a substantiated like money laundering issue, but more so also like a larger cash
Except that
issue.
if you need to launder money, it's usually cash.
I mean, yeah, and that's because federal.
Yeah.
Cash, but that's
They
also
have a lot in
federal.
common.
It also could be more so for anything else the tax revenue.
Yeah, I also see that on 80, it says adult use cultivators, processors, distributors not to be interested in retail dispensaries.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
yeah, there's, I mean, there's a lot that we could review on it. A
Yeah,
lot of
but we
information.
denied it. No, we didn't deny it. We just didn't give a recommendation. Is that?
Yeah, the board was split
Yeah.
and it came down to no referral was made by the board for that location.
To my understanding, Veronica, based on when I spoke with Ms.
Way balanced.
What happened, Chris?
Yeah, to my understanding, based on when we spoke with Ms. Pascal, when it comes to distribution and processing, it's almost, if we paralyze with liquor licenses, like for example, distribution, there might be big, huge places in which they have liquor in it. Since it's not a direct sale between the businessman and the customer, shouldn't be a problem to notify the committee, the local, in this case, our community board. Because when you deal with that, excuse me, it's not a direct involvement, customer and businessman. Meanwhile, retail is directly involved customer and businessman. Distribution is about en masse when they sell it or they distribute it to these retail stores. That's why they don't have to come in front of the board to say that we are here and we're doing this kind of business. Same thing.
That makes sense.
Right, but
It
it's more of
does
a
make
public
sense.
safety issue.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that and it does make sense, but in a way too, as a community board, we want to know what's in our community.
Yeah, I
We
want to know.
What's going on.
It's a lot of things we don't know, including when it came to about certain programs that are in our neighborhoods, they exist in the neighborhood. Maybe the neighborhood knows, but the local offices and the agencies don't have to know. So
84 also says provisions governing the distribution of adult use cannabis. Maybe we can look at that, see what provisions they have in place there. That's how to start.
84.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if I was home right now.
I have mine out right here.
I have it right here. Okay,
Yeah.
84.
Then I see they also have in 86 adult use cannabis advertising and marketing. So I think that's also good to know. See what was legal, how they can market properly and other stuff.
Yeah, I think all that is in the regulation, like further down, but I can find that specific information and bring it to the committee. Okay, anything else that we need to speak about? No? Okay, I thank the committee members for coming today. I really appreciate that. I thank the gallery, everyone who joined in person and on WebEx. I appreciate it. Bernadette, thank you for joining us tonight. Your presence is appreciated. And on that, the time is, I'm not looking at that screen, 8:15, and I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, seconded by, no oppositions, right? I oppose.
Everyone.
Everyone, have a great evening. And we'll see you all soon.
One of my clients.
Good night.